Welcome back to TF Custom Shaving Brushes Workshop. How are we all? I see we've got a few familiar faces in the stream already. So what do you think of the new setup then? Aye? Let me just get the live stream up for now so I can. So we've got Amber Witchy Woman. How are you, Amber? Thanks for joining us. We've got Sam, we've got Brett, we've got Razor, all the usual crew are in here first up. That's good. What do you think of the setup then, eh? How's it looking? This is a beast of a lathe, isn't it? And this is only one section of it. There's another section over there. And my little lathe's just over here to the side of me. But you won't see it in shot. No, it's the same setup from yesterday, Sam. It took a long time to get this all rearranged and set up, so I hope it's good. How's the sound? How's the voice level and the music level? I'm still going to play around with the locking the voice and the music level in, so that'll take me a little bit longer to get that sorted out, but we will get there with it, that's for sure. I'm dwarfed by the machinery, yes. Yes, she's a big one, this one, mate. I could lie down on this one and go to sleep. It wouldn't be very comfortable, but yeah, I could. That's how long it is. Anyway, let's get into what I've actually done here today. Well, I mean, I spent a whole day and a half rearranging the whole workshop, trying to get this lighting set up and the monitor set up above me here, up here, and trying to get the lathes positioned. And then obviously I had to move all the electronic gear to this location so that I can actually reach it from here off to my left, and when I'm on the little lathe I can reach it off to my right, whereas previously all the electronics were over to the left on the little lathe, so it was a good bit further away. The good thing is I can swing the monitor around to either lathe now. The cameras are all pretty much freestanding now, so I can turn them around basically on the spot. The only one is the overhead one. I haven't worked out how to do that one yet, because it's kind of got to be fixed in place up above to get the straight down shot, which means I'd need to take that one down if we wanted to move it over to the small lathe. But look, we'll see how we go on the big lathe, and we may just do all the streams from here now, and if I need second lathe for anything I can always go back to the small one. Yeah, well, this one's what they call the VL300, so it can actually swing a bowl 600 millimeters in diameter. But I've also got, you can see this table up here with a big steel pole on it as well. That's actually an outboard turning setup. So I can take that little shelf off, this one here, and I can put my tool rest into the top of that, and I can actually outboard turn off the end of the lathe. So I can turn, really a monstrous piece of timber off the end of the lathe. And the bed itself, I can't remember what it is, it's probably around 2 and a bit meters from headstock to the end of the bed. So yeah, it's a big lathe, plenty power, it's variable speed. So yeah, it's a nice lathe, and it's all interchangeable because it's a Vic Mark. All my chucks interchange between the small one and the big one. So it's pretty well set up. So look, anyway, that was a day and a half over the weekend to move everything around and create some space. And you'll also see I've got my bandsaw over the back here, which used to be away over the other side of the workshop. I've now brought that over here. This bench has been moved further down. It was further up this way, and it's been moved further down. I've rearranged a lot of my bits and pieces of timber there in the far corner. You'll see that in, well, actually you can see it in the small picture there. Some of the timber, I've got a couple of really big barrels, red gum barrels. There's 4 of them there, and they're like that round. And there's a big slab of mango and some other timber there as well, camphor laurel, and what's this one? Figured Rengas, which is another timber there. Anyway, let's get going. So what I've done here today, I set this up this morning, and had a bit of a clean up in here through the course of the day. So what I've actually done is I've set up, I turned this, as some of you are aware, my patrons would be aware that you've actually seen the video of turning this one, which I turned last night. So, you know, you've seen the video of that. That video will go live once this one goes live, which will probably be tomorrow morning. But anyway, I've got it all set up. I've got my indexing plate on there, which you can see in the little picture-in-picture. Previously, when I've done the indexing, I've done it just off the indexing on the head of the lathe, but it doesn't give you the flexibility and the different positions that this indexing plate can give you. So I've decided to use the indexing plate. So my spacings for this are going to be slightly different to the previous Romans I've done, but what we'll find is it will just mean that there's more flutes in it. So it'll give the handle a nice grippy feel in the hand, I would imagine. It was just fortunate that I had a customer that was actually chasing a Roman. So basically I thought, well, kill two birds with the one stone. I need something for the stream for tonight. So I thought, well, I might as well turn the handle. He wanted it in orange and black, so I had an orange and black blank there. And I thought, well, what better than to set up to do this one. So there's a table that's made up here, which is probably a little bit on the small side. It's all right for doing these, but it's probably a little bit on the small side. So when I replace this one, I'll probably make a slightly bigger one. Probably not so far out this way towards me, but probably a little bit further over the other side, over the back side of the bed. But anyway, what this does is this indexes, and there's a series of different holes, so you can use different numbers depending on what you want to achieve. Grey Dog, how are you, buddy? Welcome back, mate. Welcome back. So anyway, I've set this up. So the indexing plate is on. I've got a little arm here that you can just see in that little picture-in-picture where I've got my hand there. And it has a little locking device on it, so it's got a little ball bearing that's locked in the end here. And that ball bearing actually locks into these holes, and that's what gives it a positive lock so that the chuck can't move or the piece can't move. So what I'm going to do is I've got my router all set up. I've put a round over bit in it just to do the rounded flute. I've set it all up. I'm not using an island bush on the front, so I've turned it up the other way, out the way. I've set up some stops on the bed here that you can see. So there's a left and a right stop, and there's also a forward stop that will stop against the base of this. So when I sit that in there, basically I come up to one side, so this stop here, I'll come up hard to that side with the base plate of the router, and then I move it forward until it hits this one, and that'll be actually into the material on the handle. And then basically all I've got to do is keep it pushed forward and then just push it over to the left. And then that'll give me a single flute on the very bottom of this handle here, okay? And then what we do is we basically index, just move around the segment, so you can do, you know, I think on this one that I'm on at the moment, there's 14 holes. So that gives me 14 different positions around the handle. So there'll be 14 flutes in it. Or I could go every second one, and we could put 7 flutes in it. So I'm thinking with this one, I'm thinking I might go, every one, so we'll have 14 flutes around it. Because I'm thinking that if we go on that particular setting, they might be too far apart. Although, let me have a look. Yeah, I might go that one because I think the other one might be too much. So we might go every second one. So what I'll do is I'll take it back. I've numbered the holes, as you can probably see in that little picture. What I'll do is I'll take you to that one now so that you can actually see you can actually see the numbers that I've put on. So that's where it locks in, is just behind the chuck there. You can't really see it. That's where it locks in, and I've got a little adjustable clamp here that I can lock it in. And then when I want to move it to the next one, I just release that, spin it round, it'll click into the next one, or if I want every second one, I click it there, lock it off, and then I'm ready to do my next one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on number 1, and I'm going to go in, and I'm just going to set the flute up. Okay, so I've already set my stops, it's controlled, basically it can't go anywhere. The power is off to the lathe. We're not actually going to be using the lathe power-wise for a little while until we get all the fluting done. I will have to readjust this jig to do the fluting in the top section of the handle as well. So basically, it's going to be a fairly slow process. We'll just see how we go time-wise. Yeah, it's all set ready for the first section anyway. Okay, let me see. Up the voice a little bit. It shouldn't need to be upped, to be honest, because the voice, if I up the voice anymore, it's going to go into the red, and then we'll start getting clipping. So I just suggest, if my voice is not loud enough, it's probably that the music might be too loud. Now the big lathe is, this is where the big lathe was always positioned. So if you remember rightly, when I was working on the small lathe doing the videos, in a couple of the videos I actually said the lathe was off to the right. I mean, my big lathe was off to the right. So I haven't actually moved the big one, I've just moved all the other equipment and machinery around the place so that I could reset up the lights, reset up the video audio gear, and I've now got the 2 lathes so that they're sort of forming a corner. And any waste that comes off of this one goes down here, and any waste that comes off the other one goes down in the same spot. And the video mixing gear is all to this one spot here, so I can access that from both sides. All I've got to do is swing it round, okay? So should be all good. But anyway, we're going to get started, so let me just check that we've got everything organised in the Amber only nicked herself once. Oh, well, that's good, that's good. Alrighty, I'm going to get started then. So now I'm not sure how the noise levels are going to go with the machinery, because this lathe being a bigger lathe might be a little bit noisier to the little lathe. It is a lot bigger a lathe, but it's still relatively quiet for its size. So I'm not sure how it's going to go noise wise, but we'll soon find out. The small little router trimmer here is probably going to make more noise than anything anyway. But we'll just have to put up with it. It's just the way it is. I can't do nothing about that, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm going to turn power on to the router now, and I'm going to turn the router on. We're in the stop blocks here, and I'm going to turn the speed right up. We're going to go in and do the first cut now. First cut done. Okay, that's the first cut done. Now I'm going to go every second one. I think every one would be too many flutes in the handle. It would spoil the handle, so I'm just going to go every second one. Yep, that's going to be fine, I think. We'll have 7 flutes around the handle. we'll go to the next second one, number 5. And we'll go down. Okay, now we'll go to number 7. That's all right, I'll try and talk when the router's not on, because there's nothing I can do about that, guys. So we're looking at number 9 now. And the good thing with this indexing ply is you do get in this arm, you do get a positive lock. Sometimes if you use the indexing set up on the lathes, they have a little bit of slop in them, so you get a little bit of movement when you router, whereas using it this way, there's absolutely no movement in that whatsoever. So when you cut your slots, or your flutes, the flutes are cut perfectly in there every time. Just get rid of some of the stuff there, and we'll check our next one. Yeah. So now we'll go to number 11. Lock it off again. And now we go to number 13. So that's 7 flutes done around the lower section of the handle, and that's actually got quite a nice grippy feel to it now. Obviously it'll round over a bit once we start to sand and everything, but you can see the flutes there. So let me go to shot 3 now, and we'll cut to there. And if I release the arm now, and just move that out of the way for a tick. So there you can see the flutes cut into that lower section of the handle. So they've got a little bit of dust in there. So there you can see the flutes in the lower section. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the same flutes, and we're going to put flutes in the top section now. Okay. You'll need to treat yourself to a new laptop then, Razor, instead of buying shaving gear, mate. Aye? Treat yourself to a new laptop. Okay, so what I've done is I've locked it back off in number 1, because basically once we relocate all these stops now, We want to be able to, when we put these ones in the top section of the handle, we obviously want them to line up with the bottom section. Now, when I'm making the next table for this, I'll probably end up making it so that I've got adjusters already in the table, so that I don't have to keep drilling holes in, because obviously the top's only going to have a certain amount of life in it to keep screwing holes in it, you know. So yes, right, I need a we might be okay. So what I've got to do now is I've got to actually set up a stop now to do the flutes up here. So I'm going to use the jig, the router itself, as my positioner. And I'll turn the power off to that so I can't accidentally turn it on. And that there is roughly where I want the router to stop. Okay, so I'll be putting another jig on here now, and that's where I'm going to want it to stop. So we'll grab another few screws and we'll hold that there. And I'm just making sure that I've got the router fairly parallel with that face of the handle, because that handle slopes in that way and in that way. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that when the router travels, it's travelling across that face and reasonably parallel to that. Okay, so now I'll put in another screw back key. Move that out of the way. And that's that stop set. So that's going to control my movement to the left so that I can't go any lower on that section of the handle. And now what I want to do is I want to take and get my top stop now. And what I'll do there is I'll just put a mark, I'll get that hard up against the edge of the handle there, and I'm going to put a mark there, and then that keeps me, that'll keep me parallel now. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to come round to about 1.5 mils or so up from that edge, and I want to be roughly the same at the top from the ring. So it's probably a little bit hard for you to see how I'm setting this up, but I'm trying to explain it the best I can. And I may need to make a final adjustment to it later on as well, just to make sure that it's spot on. So that's 120 to there, and we're 120 to there as well, so that's keeping us right there now. Oh, might be better if I just drop them in there, right? Right, now just let me check that. So as you can see, it's fairly time consuming to put flutes in. Obviously, if you were doing a lot of handles, you know, you would want to set up and do a whole heap at the same time. It's not the sort of thing that you want to just be doing one at a time, or you know. I mean, I'm doing one for this one because it's part of the video to show you. But you wouldn't want to just be doing, and that's how I've done them in the past, because I've only done 2 or 3 of the Romans, so I've not done a lot of the Romans, purely and simply because they are a lot of time. Let me just take you back to the full shot, and you can see me fiddling around. Okay. Okay, so that's that. We're locked in number 1. Now what I need to do now is I need to put a stop on this end. So if I hold that there and then I move it over to this one, so that okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually take that out the way, and I'm just going to mark that stop there. And then what I'll do is I'll take that stop back from that pencil mark just a little bit. And what that'll do is that should give me my depth of cut. Okay. So that should give me my depth of cut there now. And as long as I don't let that move. Okay, now we'll just check that again. So we'll come against this stop. And then we'll come against this stop. We'll put a screw in there. Right. So we've got depth there. And then we've got depth there. And it's about equal. So what's actually happening now is I've set that stop back about 1.5 mil to 2 mil. The bit, I actually set the bit on the handle very carefully and gently, and then leaving that couple of mil there is going to give me that depth for the route bit to travel in. Okay, so we're pretty much same either side now. So we're ready to do the next one. I'll just put that last screw in there so it doesn't move on me. Roman and the gloaming. Sounds like a good one to me. All right, now so we're back on number 1 on the indexing plate. I'm going to turn the power back on to the router. We'll stick these up in here out the way, and then what I'll do is I'll take you to shot 3, and you've got the index and plate in the picture-in-picture there. Okay, so now these ones, the way it's positioned, these ones should line up with the bottom ones. Okay, so we're just going to fire it up. We're going to go in. And we're going to come along. And then we're going to stop. So that's one done. And lovely lined up. The flutes are probably a little bit deeper than I would normally do, but I think it's going to look quite nice though. All right, now we'll just jump one hole and go to the next one. Lock it in and do the same again. Got to keep on top of the rubbish so we don't trap rubbish in the stops, because otherwise it can change the depth of the cut. So basically you'll see I've left two little gaps here so that nothing can get trapped in corners and it blows your rubbish out. Right, now just jump to number 5. Now we do the same again. So we're locked in. Yep. Turn her on. Jump to number 7. Now I might, oh no, you can't see nothing from that side shot there, really. So we'll leave it as it is. You're probably seeing more in the top-down shot of what's happening anyway. So, turn her on again. Okay, turn it round this one, go to the next one. Just the compressor kicking in. Jump one, go to the next one. And the lucky last. And that's the fluting done. Now, as you can see in the handle, they're a little bit further apart. But when I put my hand on that now, because everything's nice and sharp and clean cut, it's really grippy in the hand. Obviously, once we start doing a little bit of sanding, some of those edges will just soften up a little bit, and then basically the handle will actually feel a little bit smoother in the hand. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take all this away, because now that we've done the fluting, we don't need that anymore. Now we can get back to turning. Okay, but I do have to remove all this. Oh, one thing that I was going to show you. Somebody did ask me about this some time ago. It might have been Grey Dog actually. Now, let me just zoom out on this this shot here for a sec. That's as far as I can zoom. Let me move the picture-in-picture to the top right. Picture-in-picture, top right. Okay, we'll get that up there. Now, you can see the setup that I had just to work the stops left and right, and obviously to work that way to put these slots in, okay? So that works fine. But what you can also do, and I'll get rid of these, MDF, it's rubbish material. Just breaks up, and I should really make up some nice hardwood timber ones with pre-drilled holes and countersunk holes in them. That would be a much better option. Anyway, it is what it is. It does the job. It's cheap. We'll get rid of that in a sec. All right, now that I've got rid of them out of the way, and I'm pretty sure it was Grey Dog that asked me on this one, how you put the curved ones in. So what I've got, I'll bring this one back again. I might actually go to the front shot for this and see if it picks it up any easier. Let me see how we go. Okay, so you can see this one. So there's the router, the base plate, we've got the stand up here. The router can be adjusted by adjusting this, and it can move up and down, so you've got height adjustment. I've got that set centre for this lathe, so it always goes to centre as long as I don't adjust it. Now there is 2 screws in here, just in here through this nylon block here that hold it to the base plate, and you can see you can adjust this backwards and forwards. There's a series of holes in the base plate, so you can adjust this backwards and forwards to different positions as well, so you can have more base sticking out the front of the router or more base sticking out the back. I prefer it the way it is now. Okay, but what I can do is I can take this whole piece here and I can unscrew that from the base plate, and then this piece then attaches to this one. So there's 2 holes through this block here, and this piece here would just attach to this. Okay. Now what this one does is this allows, as you can see, this block slides along on this rod, the steel rod, and it also allows this to pivot. Okay. So what I can do is I can set this at different angles, and I can bring the bit in, and I can put a rounded scallop into the handle as well, right? And putting that rounded in just gives it a whole different look and a whole different dimension again. There's a fella in the States does some of his handles. I forget who he is now. T-Man, how are you, buddy? So yeah, so it allows you to actually swing the router in a controlled curve. So once you set your radius and everything up by adjusting the router up and down on here, and once this is locked in place, this actually then becomes your jig for putting curved, or you know, I don't know what you'd call it, like a quadrant or whatever, and you can put a rounded curve in the bottom of the handle. So the fella in the States, excuse me, I don't know if it's Turn and Shave or who it is that does it, I can't remember now, but one of those guys have got it down pat, and you see him putting a big curve in the bottoms of his handles, and he only puts probably about 3 curves around the handle, and it just gives a nice, well, it gives a grippy feel in the hand if you like that sort of thing, you know. So that's what that one is, and like I said, you can see there, it's just a block that pivots on a bar, and that gets screwed to that bench, and that locks it, and then you can set that as your stop, and then basically you just swing it in that same arc every time. So you can use the indexing head again just to set your indexing to however many you want to put in, and then basically you can arc cuts as well. So that's that setup. And I'm pretty sure it was Grey Dog that asked me about that. Anyway, let me get this all out the way now. It's done its job now, and I'll put it all away properly later. But now I need to just get rid of this so we can get back to turning. And we'll put that away. Don't need that. We can put this all away. We don't need that. We'll put them over there for now. And we'll take that off. Put that back there. Now the only thing that I do have to sort out with this setup over here now as well is I do need to sort out somewhere for putting my tools. Because I've got nowhere to actually sit my tools. Like the other lathe, basically I have all my tools in that top drawer of the cabinet below the lathe, whereas I don't have a cabinet below this lathe because it's a much heavier duty machine and it's all taken up with the electronics and the motor down the bottom. So that's something I'll have to look at. At the moment I can lay the tools on the bed of the lathe, but it's not the safest place to lay tools. So I'm just putting this all back together. And I can put that away. We'll put the other one back on. What do you think of the Roman shape? What do you think of the Roman handle? So let me move that picture in picture again now. We'll move it back to bottom right. There we go. Well, actually it's in the way there too, but you get the gist of what it's about. Now, what I do is I take this indexing arm off now, and I just let that hang down over the front of the lathe. And as it so happens, that arm swings bang on the centre of my emergency stop button. So when I want to stop the lathe, I just press that and it stops the lathe. Okay? Now, we are pretty much ready to go now, so I think we've gotten rid of that. We can leave the indexing plate on. I'm going to do a bit of sanding on this, I suppose, before we turn it around, because I want the top to be pretty much finished. And the flutes have actually came up quite clean, so they're not going to take much at all. Hopefully. Now, we can bring the tool rest across. As you see, everything's much bigger and much heavier on this lathe. The tool rest is, you know, much longer. It's much stronger, much heavier. And we'll bring the tailstock across as well. Just let me jump out shot there. Okay, so yeah, we might do a little bit of sanding on this now, and then we can turn it round, part off the waste, and then we can go to setting the coin in the bottom and just basically buff it, polish it up. We'll see how we go. So I can get rid of the battery drill now as well. The less that's sitting around here open, the less we've got to clean up. Okay, so I'll need to get a couple of tools out. I'll need a parting tool, that's for sure. What else will I need? We'll need the parting tool, we'll need the 25mm Forstner bit, and we'll probably need the gouge, the spindle gouge. So I'll go and grab them now. And we'll need the knockout bar. Parting tool we'll need, and the gouge, spindle gouge, and what else did I say? The hole saw, yeah? Sorry, the Forstner bit and the Jacob's chuck. So, hopefully that's all I should need for this at this point in time. And sanding. So we'll get on with the sanding first up. Take this to there for now. Get rid of that, we'll get rid of them. We'll probably need a little bit of fresh water. So I might go and get some fresh water before we get too carried away. And then we can get started in doing a little bit of sanding, eh? Just give me 2 secs till I go and get some fresh water. So how's the colours coming through on the screen compared to previous? Is it any better colour-wise, or can you see things better? Right. Now, let's see how this one sounds. I'll need to turn it on first. I had it turned off so I couldn't accidentally turn it on with the headstock locked off. So it'll probably be a bit noisier than the previous lathe. Because it is a much heavier duty, it's a much bigger motor. Go there. We can probably go picture in picture back to there, so you can see what's going on. Let me go back, get the stream back up, and I'll go and get my little foam pad. So I'm focusing on sanding the handle more so than the flutes at this point, because I want to see how the flutes come up. The flutes might actually buff up okay. And if they don't buff up okay, then what I'll end up doing is I'll end up sanding them with by hand after. But I think they should come up okay. Yeah, definitely Grey Dog. I mean, like I said, all the setup, I mean, I done a lot of, for the initial part, I mean, I done most of the setup offline earlier, and you only see me changing it for the top part, but I mean, basically everything else was still set. It was just a case of resetting the stops for the top part to be able to flute. So yeah, there's a lot of work in it. It does make a nice handle. It's something different and not something that everybody can do unless they've got the gear or they've taken the time to make up jigs themselves. So it is another way of differentiating your, you know, brand or your product or what you can offer in the way of shaving brushes that some people can't or some people are not interested to, you know. So yeah, it's nice to have it. I mean, I got it predominantly for doing fluting on timber stuff, but then one day I was out here and I thought, oh geez, I'm going to try this on a shaving brush, and that was the birth of the Roman handle, or what I call the Roman. And when I done it, the amount of interest it generated, but like I said, I haven't done a lot of them because the time it takes, and time is money and cost, you know what I mean? Well, mine's is anyway, because I'm still trying to earn a living, so, well, extra pocket money, not so much a living or job. It keeps me in supplies and keeps me buying gear, and that's what's bought all the streaming gear and stuff as well. So somehow or another you've got to be able to make it pay its way. So like I said, these are actually a little bit further apart than what I've done on the original Romans. But I think it just would have been, with the orange and black, I think it might have just been, it would have looked a little bit too much, I think. So I'm pretty happy with this and the look that I've got with this spacing. So So like I said, by the time you turn the handle, I mean, it took just about an hour to turn the handle last night. Then you got all the setup for the fluting. Then you've got all the sanding of the fluting if it doesn't come up clean. And that's a timely process. But, you know, I do enjoy making them because, like I said, it's just something a little bit different, you know. And I reckon the Roman suits the handle, the style of the handle, just with the fluting and the shape. And I think that'll do it for that grit. Okay, Oh, this one's gone inside. Ah, not to worry. It's actually nicer over in this corner because I've got a bit more breeze here than what I usually have, standing at the other lathe. I can feel the breeze coming through the workshop. Certainly summer's on its way. I mean, it was fairly warm up here today. I don't know what the temperature actually got to, but it felt pretty warm. Yeah, pups are good, buddy. Pups are good. I'll give you an update. I'll put a couple of photographs up on the Patreon page at some stage. Let you have a look. They're good fun. Yeah, a little bit more room over the side. I was up against the basically the garage door, the workshop door there. So yeah, I've got a bit more space here. Not that you need a lot behind the lathe really, but yeah, a bit more space. Up the other half of the workshop is just chock-a-block full of stuff. So there's still a lot of time to be spent sorting all that out. I've sort of relocated some of the machines, like my table saw's been moved over there, my belt and disc sander's over there, my router table's over there, the bandsaw's been moved to here, my drum sander's over there, the thicknesser's over there, and right out in front of me about a couple of meters is my planer, my big planer. So yeah, it's made a lot of the stuff a little bit more user-friendly, put it that way. The way it was before, it would be very difficult to do any work on them without having to move gear around again. So yeah, it's made it a little bit more friendlier. It's amazing, the more space we have, the more space we take up, eh? Yeah, it's like I said, it's a slow process with the flutes if you want to do it right. But I'm hoping that the router, because it's a fairly new bit, I'm hoping that the router's actually cut them fairly clean, and that I can get it to I can get it on the edge of the buffing wheel and get the buffer to actually just buff them up without having to go through the sanding process. But if not, if it doesn't look clean enough for me, I'll end up just hand sanding. But I'll be able to start with a fairly fine grit, probably even just the wet pads to be honest. But it's just getting in there into the flutes, you know. Obviously if there were bigger flutes, then they'd be easier to get into. The bigger they are, the easier they'll be. These are only sort of 5mm, if that, in width, and because they've got the rounded end, like round end, and then carved in the actual flute itself, so they're not the easiest things to sand if you do have to sand them. Yeah, so it was very fortunate that this fella came along and wanted a Roman handle, and I had one sort of readily available, so I thought, well, I might as well turn it and get it ready for the stream, because I need something to flute. So I thought, well, what better than having the handle? Kill two birds with one stone, do the video, and end up with a nice handle out at the end for a customer. The unfortunate thing though is it meant that he jumped the queue a little bit, but it's the way it is. And I do have chameleon black here, which is hopefully going to be T-Man's if it turns out okay, but I won't know until I actually start turning it, but we'll see anyway. So that will be on the cards very, very shortly, and then I've got a couple of other ones to make now, new ones, a couple of local lads and a couple more overseas ones. All right, that'll do that one. Now we need this one here. Usual, how are you, buddy? Is anybody else snuck in the back door and I don't know about them? Yeah, the hybrids are another one that take a lot of time though. You know, you gotta get your barrel, you've got to prepare the barrel, you've got to dry the barrel, then you've got to stabilize it for sometimes days, depending on how wet or dry it is, under vacuum, and then you've got to let it soak as well. Then once it's gone through that process, you've got to then bake it at about 180, 190 degrees for about 45 minutes. And if you've got it right, it won't crack. Then you've got to treat it with the chameleon, get that dry. Then you've got to cast it, put it in the pressure pot, and that's all before you even see a blank to turn. Then you've got to turn it. And they take a lot more finishing too. But again, they're worth it. They do look, they're something very unique. So it is worth it. But a lot of time. Now, for anybody that, I know that we've got everybody in here watching this one, but I will be putting up the video that I done last night showing the turning of this handle. So that'll be part 1, and this will basically be part 2, really. But I made part 1 turning last night available on the Patreon page. Talking to Patreons, give these guys a shout out. Once again, guys, thank you very muchly for your support. So we've got Razor, Sam, Brett, T-Man. Thanks very much, fellas. Really much appreciated. Every little bit helps, I can tell you. Oh, and I see on P&C, Razor's actually been appointed the president of the TF Custom Shaving Brushes fan club. How did you end up getting that title, Razor? Well deserved, mate, well deserved. You just got to get that bloody laptop of yours sorted out, mate. Oh, I've seen it before, but I forgot to mention it, and it just sprung to mind there just before, so I thought, Self-appointed. Ah well, you deserve it, mate. You deserve it. You're always there in the stream, mate. You, Brett, Sam, now Great and Grey Dog, and a few others. Amber's becoming a bit of a regular too. Okay, we'll just stop that now. We'll give that a little bit of a hand rub as well. It's coming up quite nicely. All right. Okay, just get in here now. Right, that's number 3. Second last dry grit. Just to get you a little bit busy. Well, so far so good, eh? Shaping up all right. Yeah, I think if I had have gone the other one and put the 14 in, I think it would have been just too much on the handle. I think this looks better. Sometimes less is more, they say. All right, get back in there now. It's amazing how much grip it gives in the hand. It's really grippy, to be honest, with the flutes in it. Obviously, like I said, it'll soften up a little bit if I have to go in and sand the flutes itself. But that in the hand, that is really grippy. Like, there's no way in the world you'd ever let that slip out your hand or your fingers. Yeah, I mean, you can look at it different ways. You can see it's like, you know, the fluted columns that you see in Colosseums and stuff like that, or like a chalice. Yeah, so I think the name really suited the handle when I gave it that name, the Roman. But it was done in the first ones that I done were done in the colour of the platypus handles that I done as a limited edition for P&C a couple of years back. And they look stunning. But this is going to look every bit as good, I reckon. Okay, a little bit in there. All right, last dry grit. All the grits have gone in the boxy. Okay, that's that one done. Geez, I'll tell you what, it's been a long time since I turned on this lathe, because I've been using the small lathe for such a long time, but it's actually quite nice working back on the big one. This one's going to have a 2-band finest put in it, 26mm, and this one is, I think it's going over to the US. I'm sure that's where the guy said, so yeah, 2-band finest in this one, which is, you know, my knots that I've been using for quite a long time now. Never had any bad feedback about them. Never had any issues with shedding or anything like that. So they've served me well. It took me a long time to find them and a lot of money to find them though. Back in the earlier days. It's shaping up all right, this one. Right, that's the last of the dry. So we'll give it a little bit of a licking with the wets. I'm not going to have it spinning too fast. I don't want it flicking all over the place. such as Sam. I mean, you can basically incorporate the fluting into any handle, but it'll suit some handles, it won't suit others, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's just a case of taking the time to do it, mate. Like I said, it's not, fluting's not something that I'd want to do an awful lot of because of the sheer time factor in it. Because, you know, you get people that want to pay the money for it, but you'll get people that think, oh no, I'm not paying that kind of money. But it's just the amount of time that actually goes into doing it. So, you know, I mean, I probably never, even on the higher dollars for a Roman, but I won't be recouping my cost. So again, it's, you know, you do it because you enjoy doing it, and it's challenging and gives you something else to do, but it's not something I'd want to do all the time. Yeah, the Majestic suited that handle, T-Man. But I mean, if somebody came to me and they said, look, you know, I want this particular handle, this is the shape I want, and I want it fluted this way, and I want this and I want that, I would do it for them, but, you know, I'd give them a price for it, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's up to them whether they accept the price or not, you know, like, because as you can see, there's a lot of time goes into them. They're not just something that you can do in a couple of minutes, you know. I mean, to turn this handle last night, it was just about an hour. Okay, it's not finished, we're still going to turn it round, par it off, but it was just a bit over an hour to do this one. I'm just giving them a little touch with the wet. Usually, it might be the grizzly ones I'm thinking of. I know there's someone in the States does it, and he does a big curved, he does about 2 or 3 in the bottom of a handle, and they're big sort of curved ones with a really big round in them. I've seen his stuff, and they do look nice. Sometimes I think it can get a little bit over the top because they're so big, the flutes. I mean, I'm always one for making handles. Like handles, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they were designed to be comfortable in the hand. You know, so some shapes, if the flutes are too big, the handle's not going to have a nice feeling in the hand, and that's my only concern with going with big flutes. But I do appreciate the amount of work and time that the guy puts into them, and some of them do look really nice, you know. So yeah. Each to their own, really. Right, get into this with the soft touch pads now a little bit. The beehive's done differently. The beehive's not done with fluting. The beehive is done with what they call beads in the woodworking industry. They're called beads. I do have a tool that actually does beads, and that's how the beehives are done. They're not actually done through router fluting. So yeah, it's, you know, I'm not going to go silly with these flutes. I'm just giving them a very light touch, and it might just be enough to let the buffer do the rest, you know. It's something that a lot of turners do, Amber, is they want to jump straight onto doing bowls and stuff. But the best way to learn wood turning and to learn how to use the tools properly is to do spindle turning. And if you do spindle turning, where you're rolling coves and beads and getting used to doing it with different tools as well, so like the skew and your spindle gouges and stuff, that's the best way to learn. And a lot of people forget about spindle turning. They just go straight to making bowls and stuff, and you know, they never really truly learn how to use the tools properly. Right. Yeah, the soft touch pads don't really like the fluting too much, but these ones are knackered anyway now, so I'm just getting my mileage out of them, that's all, because they still cut well. It's just that they're falling apart like the last lot. The beehives are easy enough to do. Again, it's just sanding time, preparation time. That's where most of the time goes. But again, if you get good with the tools, you can really minimize the amount of time you've got to spend sanding, you know, with some timbers. Not all, but some. Now this will be getting, I don't think I'll be putting Plastex on this one, it will be buffed, this one. I'll be using my other buffing bar for this one. And then the luster one to finish it. So we'll get a two-stage buff, this one, just with the flutes. I want to see if I can get the flutes to shine up. Reasonably well. Like I said, they cut nice and clean, so hopefully that's a good sign. Right, better get the finger out on this side. Yeah, it's good stuff, the Plastex. I've used it for years now. Wouldn't use anything else for what I use it for. And it's probably even good on the car too, but it's good stuff. And you know what they say, when you're on a good thing, stick with it. Alright, I might change this over to camera 3 now and give you a little bit of a more of a close-up on it. So a bit there. And then we can put the picture in picture. Picture in picture will go to 2. Just for a change of scenery, aye? Oh, I suppose I should put up my subscribe button, just in case anybody is in here that hasn't subscribed. There we go. Yeah, it's coming up all right, amber, isn't it? Look nice when it's buffed and polished, and then the knot set in it and everything. It'll look quite nice, I think. Nice, nice. Okay, the last wet. And we'll turn it around, we'll do the bottom. Nice. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, I'll get rid of that over here for a tick. So I don't spill it all over the joint. Now, take it off. Yeah, take it off, we'll need the other key. I'll stick it up there, out the way. Take that one off. We need this one. Right, now we'll put the handle back on. See how that spins. That's spinning pretty good there. Now, I'm not sure how the big tool rest is going to go in here with this, for getting the tailstock support in, so I may end up having to do this very, very carefully and cautiously if I can't get the tailstock in. It's such a long tool rest, this one. I thought I had a shorter one for this lathe, but I don't think I have. And I don't think that's going to make it from that position there. I think that's going to bottom out. Oh, just about 3 or 4 millimeters shy, but I can't go in any more. I'm practically right on the chuck there, and I don't think I can get in any closer. Might just be enough. No, it's just short. Unfortunate. Oh, I can put a spacer in there, I guess, a little something or another. What have I got? What have I got? Let me just try. Oh, I can't do that either. This might just have to do. Can't do that either. What have I got? What have I got? Ah, that'll do it. That shall do it. It's got a centre mark in it, so that'll keep it in position till it's cut. Right, now just need to get the tool rest in position. Speed her up a bit. There's a little tiny little wobble there. Okay. So let me go to camera 2 there for you. we go. Done. Right. So we got there in the end, just. So I'm just getting my height sorted so we can go in with the spindle gouge like we usually do, but it's just everything's a little bit different with this lathe. So, and I think that should do us. And I'm just going to take the centre out a little bit. That'll do it. And then we can come in with the fastener bit. So you can see in the little picture-in-picture I'm coming in with the fastener bit now, and I'm just going to slow the lathe down a little bit because it's still going a little bit too fast for the fastener bit. And we'll come in nice and slow now. Locked in. Lock off the tailstock and just come in nice and slowly to get the fastener bit started. And I've just got to try and judge my depth here because I don't have graduated measurements on the tailstock on this one. Touch more and then we're there. So we'll just lock it there, fire up again. And that should do it. And we'll knock that out. And we should be done with that now. We should be done with the live centre as well. So, and all I'm going to do now is just bring this back in, and we're going to put a little bit of shape on the bottom of that there, just to blend it into the coin. And I'll just check my size again, just to make sure we have got enough depth there. So I'm going to go just a tad more. Oh, no, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Right, so we're just going to clean that up a little bit and give it a little bit of a round over. So again, very carefully, just very light cut. Just to make it a little bit hollow and a little bit undercut. Now we'll give that a little sand, not a lot. Okay. Okay, next grit. Last one, and then we'll go on to a little bit of wet. Right, a little bit of water. I'll bring the water up to there. I'm just laughing at you guys. Brett's grey dog brush will be the only brush that's not green in his den. You could always do a timber one and stain it green. See you usual. Thanks for dropping by, mate. Sweet. I do have some nice wood tints, Brett. I'd have to check and see if green's one of them though. I've got a whole set of colours. Not long now, Amber, not long now. Just got to, another 3 parts to go, and that's the bottom done, and then we'll take it to the buffer, and then we can come back, if all going well, we can come back and set the coin in the knot. And we should have a finished Roman handle and tiger. So for all you guys that didn't get to see the stream from last night, it should go up probably sometime tomorrow. So you'll be able to see the turning of the handle, and then obviously this one is the follow on from that. Okay, buff time. Buff time. You know, since I've rearranged the workshop, I don't know where everything is. I've got to go looking for stuff. Oh, old man noises. Right. That's what I was looking for. Just so I can give this all a bit of a dry off. Rid of the water. Can't reach my bin now from here either. We'll need to get that sorted. Okay. Here we go. All right, we'll take you to camera 4, which is still the GoPro until I can get the other Handycam. All right, let's see how we go, eh? Sorry I've got my back to yous. There's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. go to this one. Okay. A lot of time buffing this one. You've got to try and get into all the little gaps properly. And I'm thinking I might have to do the flutes after. I'll get a good feel for what it's going to look like anyway. And I might just not be able to finish it in this stream because I'll have to set up a Dremel and small buffs, I think. I can try hit it with a bit of plastics, but we'll see how we go. So let me go to camera 3. So you can see the flutes are still a little bit dull. And that's where I think I'm going to have to get the Dremel into. So if that's the case, I won't be finishing this tonight. But I'm going to just drop a little bit of Plastic X in there and Plastex and see if I can, if it's just buffing compound or if it's actually needing polished. And I've got a funny feeling it could be a bit of both. There could be compound stuck in there. Cotton buds is what I need. That might be the way I've got to polish it up actually. Right, let me just get a clean cloth and we'll try a little bit of Plastex. Just to see if it removes the buffing compound. We've certainly got a nice shine on everything else on the handle. The polish might actually add to the difficulty getting it out of the Yeah, I think it's going to make it more difficult. I think the Dremel is going to be the way to go, but it's not too bad actually. But I think the Dremel with a small buffing mop on it, a very small one, will assist in getting that right, I think. But anyway, I'm going to go round the rest of it now. It's really not that bad, but it can be shinier. So I think that's what we'll be doing. So I don't think we'll finish this one off tonight now. Because it'll be easier to do it without a knot. But it really isn't too bad, so it's not going to take much to bring it up, I don't think. It's almost, I could almost get away with it, to be honest, but I think I'll try and get it a little bit shinier. I think it'll be worth it. But I'll let you see this now that it's that they've been shined up a little bit with the polish and taken out any buffing compound. Okay, so we'll just give it a little bit of a rub up now. But like I said, I don't think I'll be doing that tonight, fellas or ladies and gents, because I haven't got the Dremel set up with buffing pads on it to do it at the moment. So I might do that off camera, so you might not get to see this finished. I'm just trying to see how it looks once it's had a decent rub in there, because I think the majority of it was buffing compound. You could feel the buffing wheel grab the edges of the flutes. And I do remember that from previous ones of these that I've done, so but I think the handle will look significantly better if I get in there with a small buffing mop on the Dremel, just to get into those rounded grooves. But I'll let you see it anyway, because it's actually not that bad. There you go. Right, let me take it off there, and I'll have a better look at it with you. Let's go to camera 2. And I've got the 26mm 2-band here. It might not stay in 100%. And if I go to the above shot, might just have to zoom out a little bit. To get this in shot. So it can be held like that, quite comfortably, or you can hold it with that finger locked into the hollow band there, and then just between these two here, so 3 fingers. Can be used like that, like that. Now the flutes have come up not too bad, to be honest, but I do think it'll make a difference to the handle if I just give them a very light brush, a light buff with the Dremel, the small pad and the Dremels. So I think we might call that a night now. There you can see the handle. So it's come up quite nice. I'm quite happy with that. I'll take the obligatory photographs in the light tent again in a little 30-second video, so keep an eye on my Facebook page for that, for those going up tonight, and also on Instagram. They'll go up there. I think it's good enough to take photographs the way it is like that at the moment. Obviously we've still got to set the coin in the bottom. So probably what I'll do is, this won't get dispatched till probably later in the week anyway, so I might be able to get those polished up over the next day or two, and then I'll set the knot and set the coin, and then that might be the start off of our stream on Thursday night, just to let you see that one all finished. It's actually a bit of a looker too. It does look nice. Anyway, if we're all happy with that, I'm happy with that. I'm happy that we got to let you see the fluting getting done, so you know what's involved in that from here on in. We will come back to fluting at another stage as well and do some more playing around with the fluting. So we might even try, maybe the next time we do the fluting, maybe we can do an arched one. So I'd have to get a fair bit of setup done for that one before we could actually stream it live. Otherwise it would just be most of the time setting up the jig. But I think we could possibly do that. And I'll need to schedule in a few other things. I do have a couple of brushes still to do. So I've got my blackboard up there. I've got one for Tristan, which is T-Man. So his chameleon barrel, which I'm hoping this one's going to do the job for that. It should look quite nice. It's got purples and blue and red, and it's got the, I don't know if that was this, I think that was a silvery halo that was put in that. It's quite nice. Don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera 2. I think I've showed you this one before anyway, but I've got the centres marked on the ends now, so it's almost ready to put in the light. The colours do pop more when once you've turned it down. I think it must get more light to it, but there's some nice purple and reddy colour in there with the blue, and then obviously you've got the silvery, there's purple in there as well, actually, now that I'm looking at that. But anyway, we'll see how we go with that. That'll be coming up, probably not a stream or two yet, because I'm still waiting on rhodium knots to get some knots up here. So he's got a bit of a backlog at the moment, so I can't finish that one at the moment anyway, T-Man, until we get the knots. That's why I asked if you wanted your other ones sent up to you. But anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll take that as it comes. So once again, guys, ladies and gents, I'm going to shut the shed door down again. I'm going to go and have a nice cup of coffee, and probably check the stream out and see check the volume levels for voice and music and see how it's all panned out. And yeah. So we'll see you again on Thursday night. I hope you've liked this video on the fluting. Certainly makes a unique looking handle, and something a little bit different, a little bit more work in it, like I said. But certainly it's worth the effort when you see the handles finished like that. So anyway, thank you very much, Lee, and we'll catch up with you on Thursday, eh? So until then, what's my usual? Take care, stay safe, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and we'll see you on Thursday night. Cheers for now. Ta-ra. See ya. Ta-ra.